And that is a perfect opportunity to tell you guys about what we are talking about today, which is going to be about how travel awakens you. All right. And yes, we want to talk about this, one, because we're fresh off of travel, and two, because this is a deep passion of both of ours. Like, when it comes to travel, we'll of course get into it. But for this episode and moving forward with Boss Talk, we want to try some new things, see how it goes. So I want to tell you guys the 4 points that we'll be talking about today, and then we'll go into the 4 points. Point number 1 is that travel brings awareness. All right. Yes, point number 2 is travel enhances perspective. Point number 3, travel inspires your creative side. And point number 4, travel brings overall joy in areas with a single bit of gratitude. All right. Travel brings gratitude. So we just want to dive into all of these topics, and we hope you guys enjoy. And let's jump into it with point number 1. Travel brings awareness. I think that from the moment you hit that you booked the ticket, awareness sets in. And most importantly, intention sets in. You are the most focused once you book a ticket somewhere. You are more focused on that than you've done anything in the year. The moment you book that ticket, what do you start doing? All right, well, let me research what restaurants I'm going to. You're so intentional with everything. It's real now. It's real.
A thought. It was an idea. It was an aspiration. And now it's real.
All right. What pictures I'm gonna take? What outfits I'm gonna wear?
What song I'm gonna use for my
What song I'm gonna use for my reel? Like, all right, how many days I'm staying? Like, your whole awareness opens up, and that's why travel is important, and that's why it's our first point, because it just brings a certain awareness that you don't have until you get ready to travel, and especially traveling abroad. We're not really talking about domestically, even though that is a thing too. There's a lot of beautiful places in the United States that even I haven't seen yet, and that I will eventually see. But I think specifically, we're really talking about getting out of your comfort zone into a whole new area of life, like not in the same country that you've grown up in. But yeah, also, what are your points on awareness as well?
For me, I'm just gonna reflect on this trip.
Yeah,
that's what I told Rome I want to do.
Yep.
I just want to speak from the heart and everything that went on with me while in Africa.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things of awareness I realize is that reflection is like the gateway to growth. Because once you reflect, you reflecting, you expanding, you thinking about everything. You like thinking about what can you change, what you can do better, what you did change that worked. So it's like that facilitates growth. That was the first thing. So I did a lot of reflecting, and especially every time I got to the beach.
Yeah.
Like, I'm editing the vlog, and every time I got to the beach, that's where it started coming out of me. So
it's that water.
That's that water. But what I realized while I was there was like how distracted we are when we are back home. Like, there's a lot of things that you don't notice about yourself or feel until you're out of your comfort zone, out of your home. Because I was like, a lot of times we don't get to tune into our inner voice because we distracted by social media, by work, by our home life, by the noise all around us. The best way I can compare it to is like when we used to listen to radio a lot in the day. When you trying to find a station, all you hear is static. Especially like when you're traveling or on a road trip, and then you finally tune into that music. Like, you start hearing it, and then you finally get there. That's that inner voice. But the distractions is the noise. So I was able to tap into my inner thoughts. I was thinking about things I wasn't thinking about back home, and it made me happy.
Yeah.
I was just happy out there. It just allowed that inner voice in me be able to speak to my conscious and everything, and tap back into my conscious and my intuition, and it was beautiful.
And I feel like it's tough to, like, when you have that awareness, like, it brings a certain sense of where you realize, like, this opportunity isn't afforded to everybody. Like, as soon as we landed in Africa, I was like, there are people, unfortunately, who lived and died and never got to see this. You know, there are people, unfortunately, who never got to experience this energy. And you just really, like you said, you immediately start reflecting, because, and it's kind of like when we landed, I was just like, how did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have been a lot of places. Like we could have, you could have went back home to family and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, we got here through intention. We got here through being aware of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to start the year. Because that's all we kept talking about, like how we want to start the year. And we got here through 75 hard. That even pushed us to get to this point. But that sense of awareness that we're speaking about it can only be found when you get outside of the areas that you're used to. Like you have to get outside of that comfort, get outside. And we were going to somewhere where the language was not ours at all. And that brings a sense of awareness in a sense where it's like
it wasn't even the second language. It wasn't the third language, if that.
And that brings awareness of like, yo, everybody not like me. Everybody don't think the same as me. Everybody doesn't speak the same as me. Everybody doesn't have the same values or core values, and they didn't grow up. You sense that immediately as soon as you travel.
And the funny thing that made me think about that was like when I was thinking about the language barrier. Like when you speak a common language, you get in. That's like a mental, like something you share mentally. You get in that person's mind, but when you speak their language, you get in their heart. Like whenever I would use certain words I learned in like Wolof, I seen the way they would look at me versus when I'm just trying to say it in English. So it's like I learned that lesson. Like that's why every time I travel somewhere where there's a different language, I try to learn the thank yous and the highs and the byes and the no thank yous. This is the bare minimum. This to have some type of arsenal in my pocket to communicate with someone
because
they appreciate it.
You don't want to because it's lazy not to try. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you're not going to be fluent, but it's lazy not to pick up. All right, what are the main things that I know touches people? Like, thank you or how are you doing? Like, let me pick up at least those so that they can see where I'm coming from and I can see where they're coming from.
And people will notice your effort.
Yeah.
I didn't say thank you out there. I said it in French, merci, or I said it in Wolof, jidajif. So it's like people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I would appreciate that if someone foreign came and they can't speak English, but they're trying. Like, especially like most people speak English. My English is not too well. But they try.
They try.
Most of the time, it is pretty good.
And for us, I'm about to say, it sounds pretty good.
Anyone that did try to speak English to us, I appreciate it.
And that brings me to our next point,